YouTube, Dawson Ryder here. This is hopefully going to be the last video where I have to talk about MMPR's popularity and all that noise. Unless they come out with some news, like next year they come out and say we're disavowing all the other seasons and it's only MMPR all the time. Then maybe I'd do a video talking about that because it would be like Hasbro or Playmates making a statement. Or if there's some sort of news that warrants it. But I'm tired of talking about this. It just reminds me what an echo chamber the fandom is. They can't see 2 feet in front of them, can only see the point of view of the fandom thinking, well, me and all my fandom friends on Twitter love Lightspeed Rescue. We love Sentai. So that's the point of view of the rest of the world. Why is it MMPR all the time? The reason this comes up is because of the recent MMPR Reignition. Obviously, a little while back, they started, quote-unquote, airing those episodes on YouTube, which are like the AI upscaled MMPR with little factoids at the end. And they have a toy line coinciding with it. And recently, within the last week, I realized they're coming to Netflix. I didn't see any news about that on Twitter or anything. I just had Netflix on in the background, and it was doing that pause menu thing where it, filters between advertisements for shows they have. And it showed MMPR, and it said, Season 19 coming this Thursday or whatever. And I'm like, that's hilarious, because I think they still have the reversioning on there. So there's 3 versions of MMPR Season 1 that are about to be on there. It's kind of like how there's 3 movies in the Halloween franchise called Halloween, except they're all different stories, and they're all better than MMPR. But that's just so hilarious and weird, and that they're trying to frame it as a new season. But anyway, you have those 2 things coming out, and it's of course sparked the discussion and the whining about why MMPR all the time. And we've had this conversation so many times, guys. We can go back and forth on why you think it's still not recognizable. The fact is, even though I think it becomes increasingly irrelevant, it's still the face of the brand. It's still the most popular, and because they've kept it in the forefront, even those that didn't grow up with it are most familiar with it, whether it's the next generation's kids watching it or they never watched it and they just saw it around. It's the most recognizable. And it's brought this up because when it comes to the Reignition Line, people are saying, like, don't support this. And there's people wanting to boycott it. And first of all, staging a boycott like this is an important cause is hilarious. It's like doing those fan petitions to undo Super Mega Force or any fan petitions. It's like, this is not an important cause, even remotely, worth staging a boycott or a petition like it's something worth fighting for. It's hilarious to me. Regardless, though, the idea of wanting to send a message to Hasbro, Playmates, whatever, that we're going to show them that we want other seasons by not buying this one, and the idea that their takeaway from, let's say this line tanks, whether it be at the efforts of the boycott that works, which it wouldn't, the fandom's too small to make a dent in that. It's just white noise. Regardless, whether the line fails because of a boycott or the line fails because of lack of interest, they're not going to say, well, the mistake was not making a Lightspeed Rescue line. They're going to say, wow, the brand must really be dead if we can't even sell our cash cow, or at least our perceived cash cow. Like, I get the sentiment of, like, not wanting to feed the MMPR machine because it's going to, encourage them to make more MMPR. And odds are, whether this line succeeds or fails, chances are slim of us getting other seasons anyway, but chances are at least greater of them wanting to move past MMPR with Reignition, do Zeo remastered, whatever. Chances are higher of them doing a Zeo line after they finish MMPR if this line succeeds than it is if it fails. If it fails, the takeaway is not going to be, damn, we should have done one of those seasons that has half or less the recognition of MMPR. It's going to be, oh, this brand's dead. We're going to give up or we're going to shelve it, horde. So that's just dumb. Like, again, I get the core sentiment, but the idea of trying to send a message like this is just stupid. And it would be counterproductive to what you actually want. And I've talked about this a couple times on Twitter, unfortunately, and on the YouTube videos like I am now. And people say, well, you can't tell me to support this. I don't have to support this. Why are you saying I have to support this? I'm not saying that at all. I'm not championing this line in terms of saying I want you guys to support this. I think we as a fandom should support it. I think that's dumb, like fandom patriotism. Like, you need to show you're a true fan. But no, who cares? I'm not saying that at all, because I hated when the Sentai DVDs came out, and people were like, you have to buy Zyuranger to show you're a real fan so we can get more Sentai in the West. I eventually bought the Zyuranger DVDs because I found them on sale, but I'm not the biggest Zyuranger fan. I'm like, I'm never going to rewatch this unless it's for a video. So I'm not going to buy this for that reason. I hated people telling me that you're not a true fan unless you buy it. So I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying championing it to fail is going to be counterproductive to what you actually want. Again, it could just show them they want more MMPR, but if this fails, then none of the other seasons will happen. And unfortunately, as we've stated multiple times, Power Rangers is between a rock and a hard place when it comes to that. There are only 2 real options, are MNPR or a new season, whether it be this reboot that might happen or if down the road they go back to adaptions, because that'd be relevant. You know, I saw people saying they should do Cosmic Fury. I mean, I would love that, but that would be kind of a dumb idea, because it's like a show that came out a few years ago. Like, it'd be even weirder than if they tried to do something like Time Force randomly, or pick another fan favorite season. Like, the fan favorite seasons are still not known to the general public a lot of the time, outside of maybe they've seen a picture. But it would be weird to do Cosmic Fury because it's sort of recent, but it's kind of a while ago now too. So that would just be so weird for them to try to do that. So I really can't see a scenario. I mean, stranger things have happened, including the show Stranger Things, but I can't see a scenario where all of a sudden any of the seasons from Zeo onwards would blow up enough to warrant any sort of level of exposure that MMPR gets. Our real only bet is anything new that might take off, which, you know, chances are slim on that right now, but who knows in the future. But I'm just saying, guys, this conversation is getting exhausting about it. And I'm not saying you got to support this Reignition Line or the Reignition show. I'm just saying championing it to fail is stupid, because it's only going to lead to the same result you have now, but worse. I am really curious how this is all going to go over, because I personally still do believe that MMPR is the only popular and recognizable season in terms of like the general public, the general consensus. I know that there are groups that grew up with other seasons. I think mainly the Disney era and Samurai had a boom there, but I still think that's a smaller amount of people compared to the boom of MMPR. I don't know how this will work, because I know that there are kids and, you know, older kids that are familiar with MMPR, whether they watch it on Netflix or, like I said, just seeing it around. But kind of revolving this around this remaster when there's 3 versions, I am really curious how well this toy line will sell, just because I really don't have a read on it. All I have sometimes are people saying, oh, my kids watch it, or like all my kids' friends watch it, but then I have people saying, kids don't care about MMPR today. All you have is secondhand accounts, you know? It's kind of like when people are like, why aren't they making more female Ranger figures? My daughter's third cousin's friend's uncle has a figure, or for a female figure. Why aren't they buying it? So, I don't know. I'll be really curious to see how it does, whether the Netflix exposure and the YouTube stuff and the general familiarity from kids will get them buying this line. And especially if the reboot happens, like if the reboot doesn't go well, like if it's canceled after a year or it never happens, this is all we have. And I honestly can't say whether or not this will do well, but I'll be curious to see how it does. You know, as even though I think that MMPR is the most recognizable face of the brand, I think it becomes increasingly irrelevant. I think it eventually will become, if things don't work out, one of those franchises that people remember by name and they can picture it in their head and they've seen it, but it will be one that's kind of irrelevant. And as you get farther away from the older generation that's actually interested in that nostalgia trip, because I think you have that group like us that grew up with it, and at least at one time were interested in revisiting merchandise or returning characters from that era. And then you have everyone else that's just simply familiar with it on a surface level, and that's not enough to carry it. So, I don't know, guys. I just think that we'll have to wait and see what happens with the Reignition Line, but wanting it to fail because you think it'll send a message that we want other seasons. I mean, it will send the message like, yeah, sure, but they're not going to make other seasons. Like, the outcome of this line failing, and if the reboot doesn't go through, is, at the best case scenario, the franchise shelved for a while. But anyways, guys, until next time, Dawson Ryder signing out.